Hello and welcome to another CLEO Systems vlog. In this series, of course, we delve into some of the products and services that CLEO provide. I'm Glenn Tomset and I'm pleased to welcome back Dr. Paul Perry. Paul, of course, is a regular guest on our vlogs. He's Medical Director at CLEO, where he's led the successful implementation of digital transformation, which brings a strong focus on embedding clinical safety. Paul, good to see you. How do we find you?
Very well, thanks Glenn. Really good to see you as well.
Absolutely, good to see you again. So today we're chatting about virtual waiting room, known as VWR. Paul, to kick us off, in simple terms, what is the virtual waiting room, who can use it, and how does it typically work in practice?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. So it's another product that we have at CLEO, and essentially it's a queue management solution designed to organise and prioritise patients within, I suppose, that call queue stream that often happens within urgent care and 111 services. And it's very much, configurable and adaptable to clinical and operational rules within the organisation. Essentially manages large volumes of patient cases that essentially come downstream from NHS 111, and it essentially also supports that kind of safe clinical prioritisation of patients who are often sicker as well, calling urgent care.
And what are the benefits of using VWR then for providers?
Yeah, there's a few, I suppose. I suppose for urgent care providers, it's the biggest benefit's efficiency, essentially. I mean, services get better throughput because clinicians spend less time switching between systems or searching for the right patient, or they've maybe, called a patient and they haven't answered and they're trying to find that number again. Also gives providers real-time visibility of that demand. So, in terms of, who's waiting, how long they've waited for, and essentially when clinicians are free as well. So we can really use that capacity within the service. And, it often means teams can respond dynamically to that need of the patient, and also adding staff when is needed in terms of higher demand aspects of services, and even just redistributing cases to avoid those bottlenecks.
And from a clinician's point of view, Paul, how does VWR actually make the day-to-day workflow easier or less stressful, for that matter?
Yeah, I mean, clinicians no longer have to trawl through lists and lists and lists of patients. So very much makes a case for admin staff or, worrying about missing a patient. And the virtual waiting room essentially lines everything up nice and neatly for them as well, just to go through their patient lists on their shift. Once they finish a patient, they click complete and the next appropriate patient automatically just appears instantly. So there's no mental load, there's no hunting through any kind of IT systems or other shared inboxes, and no competing lists as well. So essentially just reduces that, what we call cognitive burden, essentially just feeling stressed under pressure. Cuts out the kind of micro administration, often can slow down clinicians doing their job, and also just creating a calmer, more predictable kind of workflow that goes with that.
And one of the big ideas is that the system presents the next patient automatically, as you sort of hinted about there. Why is that such a game changer for productivity and focus then?
Yeah, I mean, with the last question, we kind of touched on cognitive burden and I suppose just clinicians feeling that decision fatigue. So just the more and more patients they see, they just feel quite stressed and a bit more fatigued. But when clinicians don't have to choose between what to do next and it's automatically done for them, they can stay fully focused on that care of patients. And it also ensures essentially just that it moves fairly and consistently. It's fairly straightforward. There's no patient that's skipped within the queue or overlooked. So again, really, really safe to use and really does help that efficiency of the service that the organisation is delivering.
And from the patient's side, Paul, how does the virtual waiting room improve the overall experience of accessing care?
Yeah, so I suppose for patients, it means shorter wait times, so they know that they're going to get a call. There's clearer expectations and fewer delays caused by that kind of admin complexity behind the scenes. And generally because clinicians are presented with the right patients, well, the patient's in the right order at the right time, essentially, it maps services to demand and the whole system moves more efficiently as well. So that flow through the system just really improves overall.
And we often hear about reducing the admin burden, don't we, for clinicians? Where do you see VWR saving the most time for clinical teams?
Yeah, it's often the time saved is often in between patient moments, really. So it's just that sort of very quick downtime in between seeing your last patient and then your next patient. So essentially, the VWR collapses all of that noise, essentially. So clinicians don't need to coordinate with admin teams, double check schedules, or even reconcile multiple lists. So essentially it just saves time in reporting because the platform automatically captures that activity, the duration and that throughput as well through the service.
And from an operational perspective, what kind of visibility or control does VWR give services that they didn't really have before?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose operationally for leads and folk on the shop floor, very much gives a kind of live, crystal clear view of that demand and capacity. So essentially how many patients are coming through the system, how many are waiting, what the skill mix is that's available within the resourcing or requirement, how each clinician is progressing and how they're doing on their shift, and also where particularly where those pressure points are emerging that can be very quickly dealt with if there is an issue. But I think overall the visibility allows services to intervene in real time, redirecting patients, rebalancing that caseload, and also adding resource before any backlog kind of develops. So essentially it turns what used to be this kind of reactive management into proactive, informed decision making on the shop floor.
And looking ahead, Paul, and I know you've got your crystal ball there, how do you see tools like VWR shaping the way demand is managed across healthcare services?
Yeah, I think as time goes by, I think solutions like the VWR style tools will definitely become more central to how I suppose we manage and operate within model healthcare going forward. So I think as services generally move towards integrated multidisciplinary models, we'll need intelligent systems like the VWR to organise that patient flow safely and effectively. So I think over time these tools will help services flex around that kind of real world demand, smooth out those peaks and make better use of the workforce in terms of ensuring that they are seeing the right patients at the right time. And I think ultimately, essentially it's going to support the future where access to care is more predictable, more transparent for patients, and far better in terms of coordinated across the entire system.
Paul, thanks very much for shedding more light on CLEO's virtual waiting room, VWR. If you'd like to know more, head over to the website. Of course, it's cleosystems.com. Select the Solutions heading on the menu and then Virtual Waiting Room. It'll tell you more about it there as well. Paul, always good to see you. Thanks very much for joining us.
That's great. Thanks for having me, Glenn, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Absolutely. Until next time, thank you for watching. Goodbye.